Hi everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs. My project today is a box that measures 3.5 by 4 3/4 by 1, and I used the Earthen Textures stamp set and die set from the annual catalog. I think the paper that came with it is mostly earthy tones, but I wanted to do it with some of the nice blues. Okay, and the second rectangle is the one that I used from the Radiating Stitches dies, and the rectangle is 2 5/8 by 4. Alright, so if you don't have that, you can just cut your own. Alright, so in my box today, I have, it opens like this on the back, and this was a little bit too big, but that's alright, we didn't have to put that in there, is a, you can fill it with your own spray hand sanitizer. Okay, so what we need for this project is some basic white for stamping. We need a piece of Night of Navy that is 8.5 by 9.5. This is the Countryside in Designer Series paper rectangle that I cut with the Radiating Stitches dies. I cut 2 of these fans from Boho Blue Cardstock using the Earthen Texture dies. We need a little piece of Boho Blue for the sentiment. We need 2 pieces of the Cottage in Designer Series paper that are 3 1/4 by 4.5. 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 4.5, and 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, and 1 piece for the back piece here that is 3 1/4 by 1.5, and I rounded one side of the long side. Alrighty. Okay, so let me get my Simply Scored, and we're going to put it on the 9.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 1, 4.5, 5.5, and 9. Turn it to the 8.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 1, 5 3/4, and 6 3/4. Alright. Now I'm going to fold and burnish all of the score lines. This is my host code. Please put that in for any purchases under $150, and I will send you a little something as a thank you. Tomorrow I get to order from the new mini catalog. It'll probably take a little while to get here because there's going to be a lot of demonstrators ordering. But I just got a whole bunch of new annual catalog stuff that will tide me over. And it goes live on September 6th for you guys, okay? But I'll show you some before. Alright, so how I have this is the skinniest rectangle is on the right hand side, 1 inch strip on the bottom and the left, and up here I think is 1 3/4, but let me just double check. Yeah, 1 3/4 inch strip at the top here. Alright, and this is what we're going to be doing. Alright, so I'm going to be taking a whole bit off up there. Alright, so we're going to start over on the left hand side. Go to the first score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge each side of the square. Go to the next score line, cut it to the first score line, next score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge both sides of the square. Go to the next score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge up into that skinny rectangle. Okay, now turn it so that the skinny rectangle is on the left hand side, and we're going to count to the second score line, cut it to the second score line, and take all 4 of these pieces off. And I take off the score line with it. Now just wedge up into this end of that skinny rectangle. Okay, go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, get rid of the rectangle on the bottom, and wedge both sides of the square. go to the last score line, cut it to the second score line, get rid of this rectangle on the bottom, and wedge both sides of the square. Okay, now all we need to do is this piece that sticks up the farthest when the skinniest rectangle is on the right, and round the corners of this top piece here. Alright, and this is what your cardstock should look like after you're done scoring, cutting, and rounding those two corners. Okay, I'm going to take my tear and tape and I'm going to put it on what's left of the skinny rectangle next to the score line. I'm going to take my take your pick tool and take the backing off. Flip over the whole thing, flip over the side with the tape, and then the other side to meet it. Okay, this part with this seam is going to be the back. So we're going to put in our side flaps. Just put a little bit of glue on them. Then pull in your back flap. Put some glue on the back of this front one. And close that flap. And just make sure that all of the sides are nice and even. And I'm just going to stand it up and make sure that I press down those tabs on the edge. Alright. And that is how the box works. Alright, now we need our DSP. The two pieces that are 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 on the front and the back. The long sides are 3/4 by 4 1/2. The short sides are 3/4 by 3 1/4. And this piece that goes right here on the back flap here is 3 1/4 by 1 1/2. All right, and I'm going to use liquid glue for all of it. Okay, so let's just let this dry for a minute. And let's bring in our basic white and our strip of Boho Blue. Alright, first we're going to do the vase here, and we're going to do it with Night of Navy cardstock. And the actual die for the vase cuts off a bit of it. If you notice, this one's a little bit skinnier than this one because the die is smaller. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to stamp this. Okay, and then also with Night of Navy, we're going to stamp the sentiment that says with gratitude. Okay, and then we need Boho Blue for these leaves right there, or I'm not sure. My husband calls them Fragmite when they're by the sea. I don't know if that's the real name. My mom just called them reeds. Okay, then we're going to stamp that one in Boho Blue right there. Okay, and then I'm going to use this die for the vase and this die here for those. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, now I'm going to bring in our rectangle that I cut from the Radiating Stitch dies, and it's approximately 2 5/8 by 4. Alright, and I'm just going to set this about how I want it. I'm going to have one of these fan type ones a bit lower. And then this fan I want much higher, not much higher, but up to the top of the rectangle. Alright. So when I figure out how I really want them, maybe I'll put this down a little bit lower. just going to hold them down, and I'm going to get a pencil, and I'm just going to put a line right where their stems are. All right, and then I'm just going to see how some of mine are up. I'm not going to bother doing everything. I'm just going to try to just put a thin bit of glue down the main stem there. And then I'm just going to push this right over that line we wanted. And before I really push it, let me just make sure it's good. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'm just going to put a bit of glue down this one. You can leave the top a little bit loose. All right, and then we'll put this right like that. Just make sure that if any of the stems come out of the pot, like on the sides, just clip that off. All right, now I'm going to figure out where I want this to go, and I'm going to put the bottom of it pretty closely down, the bottom of the tops of these, about only a little bit above the top of the vase. All right, and I'm just going to hold it there. Yeah, and then I'm going to just stick a little bit of glue right on the back of that, on the front actually of that bunch of leaves. Okay, before it dries, just make sure it's where you want it. That's good. Okay, and then I'm going to just lay it down, and I'm going to get my dimensionals and my mini dimensionals, and I'll put some minis up as close as I can get to the top of those fringes, and then I will put regular dimensionals. Okay, and then I'm just going to put it right down on top of the other reeds. And there we go. Okay, now let's put our little thing in there. And we need to put a 3/8 inch adhesive Velcro dot for the closure. Now you can get these on Amazon. You just have to search low profile adhesive Velcro dot, okay, and it will come up. They're about $3 a pack, and you get a bunch. All right, and then we're just gonna press on that and pull it up. You might have to use your take your pick tool to get it apart, but most of the time I'm good. All right. All right, and then we're going to take some of the threaded twine. I think sometimes I think it's silver and sometimes I think it's gold, but I believe it is silver. All right, and we're going to run it this is not right. Let me get that better. There we go. Okay, we're going to run it around. We don't want it to go higher than this piece here so we can open it, but I'm just going to run it around 2 times right here, and then I'm just going to loop this under them over here. Let's just make sure we can make them come apart a little better. All right, there we go. And then just tie a bow here. And I'm just going to scooch it up as far as I can get it. All right, and then we're just going to cut them. You can leave them as long or short as you want, maybe a little shorter. I left these a little long. Okay. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to put some dimensionals on the back. Okay. And then we're going to center this right on top in the middle. Make sure you put at least 5 dimensionals so it can hold down these nice ropes here. Okay. Now for the sentiment, I am just going to cut it by hand. And we're going to glue it right at the bottom. And I'm going to put a little tiny strip of dimensional on that one side that's lower. And then a little bit of glue on the side that will show, that will attach to the vase, sorry. I'm going to put it most of the way over onto the vase and stick it right down. Okay, for the final touch, I'm going to add some Ombre matte decorative dots, and we're going to use the darkest blue ones. I'm going to put one up there, one right there, and the large one, oops, right there. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. My contact information is below, along with the link to my blog that has all the directions written out, and the link to my shop. Please use this host code for any purchases under $150, not including tax and shipping. All right, please subscribe and hit the like button, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.